its investigative journalism, formed a major plank of the O.R.A.L report. My office is extremely grateful to the Fourth Estate for the excellent foundational work that they did. In my last press briefing held on March 24, 2025, I made clear that investigations into the National Service scandal were almost concluded, and that I will return with a detailed update on the investigations and the decision of my office regarding criminal charges against all persons suspected to have been involved in the looting of state resources. I am here today, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow countrymen and women, to announce that I have received the dockets compiled by diligent and hardworking investigators at the National Intelligence Bureau, popularly known as NIB, formerly BNI. The dockets were compiled under close supervision by my office, led by my able Deputy Attorney General, the Honorable Dr. Justice Shrimsai. Ladies and gentlemen, in or around February 2022, the management of the National Service Authority announced the introduction of a digitalization system which they claimed had saved the country some 112 million Ghana cedis. Through an app known as the Metric app, which allegedly combined facial recognition technology and identity card checks for verification and validation, the NSA, that is the National Service Authority, had blocked the enrollment of some 14,027 potential fraudsters on the scheme for the 2021-2022 service year. Despite these claims, when our current Minister of Finance, the Honorable Dr. KCL Atuforsen, ordered a head count of all National Service personnel as a precondition for the disbursement of arrears of allowances payable to the personnel dating back to August 2024, it was discovered that around 885 were ghost names. Our investigations have revealed a sprawling criminal enterprise whose network covers the entire country. This criminal enterprise was run by top-level executives of the National Service Authority and their accomplices in the private sector, known as vendors or service providers. This criminal enterprise resulted in the siphoning of huge sums of public funds into private pockets. In total, we can confirm from our evidence on the docket and from interrogations that a whopping 548,333,542 cedis and 65 pesos, that's how accurate we have been, has been lost to the state through the criminal enterprise. The breakdown is as follows. For the service year 2018 to 2019, 25,857,836 cedis and 16 pesos was lost through ghost names and through this criminal enterprise. In the 2019-2020 service year, 21,613,962 cedis and 24 pesos was lost. In the 2020-2021 service year, 55,670,584 cedis and 32 pesos was siphoned. In the 2022-2023 service year, this is the one that is more surprising and very shocking, 350,926,977 cedis and 7 pesos were lost. No, 12 pesos was lost to the state. And then for the 2023-2024 service year, 32,881,157 and 7 pesos was lost to the Republic. In total, as I stated, we lost over 548 million Ghana cedis to the criminal enterprise perpetrated by these executives, these directors and staff, as well as the service providers in the marketplace. The criminal enterprise that resulted in the loss of this colossal sum of money to the state involved the creation of ghost names within the NSA payroll system by some directors and staff, which they subsequently exploited to misappropriate state funds for their personal gain. This they did in direct collaboration with vendors and other accomplices. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, our investigations have revealed that prior to the commencement of each new service year, the directors would submit to Parliament for approval a budget figure representing the number of prospective service personnel for that particular service year. Consequently, or consistently, these figures were inflated by huge numbers. During the fiscal year, the directors will write to the Minister of Finance requesting permission to utilize excess funds allocated in the budget of the National Service Authority. Once authorized, the directors will transfer the funds into NSA's project account at the Agricultural Development Bank, and under the pretext of executing projects, will divert the funds into private pockets. Another criminal scheme hatched and exploited by the directors and staff is the deployment of ghost names onto the NSA system. Once deployed, the directors will then request that both ghost names and genuine names be transmitted by the head of accounts to the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems, that is GIPS, for payment. These payments included payment to EaseWage cardholders procured for the fictitious national service personnel. Our investigations compared monthly data of verified national service personnel generated from the Central Management System and submitted to the NSA Accounts Office, and the data of the NSA personnel who were actually paid through the GIFT system for a period of 6 years. That is from 2018 to 2024. It was established that a total of 587,543 personnel were to be submitted to GIPS for payment of allowances. Meanwhile, data from GIPS showed that a total of 650,165 personnel were paid, indicating that 63,672 constituted ghost names. These consisted of the following categories of personnel. That is, national service personnel who were blocked on the CMS system during the registration process. Then personnel, national service personnel numbers that exist in the payment records but do not exist on the central management system. And then, of course, NSA or national service volunteers, and then some management staff and marketplace vendors. Fellow countrymen and women, our investigators additionally established that some of the ghost names were added to the list submitted by vendors, representing the number of service personnel to whom they had supplied items or provided loan facilities, allegedly. When these vendors eventually received the payments, the directors and staff would then contact the vendors whose accounts had received payments, meet with them, and collect the additional money that had been added to the vendors' payments. For instance, we have conclusively established that after collecting these funds, some of the suspects, such as Gezi, Nyako, and Oting, handed them over to suspect Ose Asibe Entry in cash, and on some occasions deposited the cash into his bank account. Ose Asibe was the chief executive, the director general of the National Service Authority. Some directors, such as Gifty Owari-Mensah, created and executed a meticulously detailed plan using NSP, National Service Personnel Allowances, as security to obtain a loan of 30,698,218 cedis, 69 pesos, from the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, at an interest rate of 23%. She achieved these results by using other people's information to register a company called Blocks of Life Consult without their knowledge or permission. Subsequently, she presented Blocks of Life Consult through a middleman in the person of Maxwell Akwesi Ofori-Atta to an official of the Agricultural Development Bank, enlisting her husband, Mr. Peter Mensah, a lawyer, to act as one of the directors or representative of the said company. She told ADB that the company specialized in supplying home appliances to national service personnel and proposed that ADB finance the company to enable it to supply these items on hire purchase basis to the service personnel, with the NSA being responsible for handling the deductions and repayments. During the period, suspect Gifty was the acting director, Gifty O.R.A.L was the acting director of the authority. However, on the marketplace of the authority, there was no indication that Blocks of Life was a registered vendor. Within 2 service years, suspect Gifty O.R.A.L used a total of 9,934 ghost names to misappropriate the aforementioned funds. Investigation further established that after ADB transferred the funds into the account of the company, she subsequently transferred the funds into 4 different company accounts, with the names of Amiacom, Scaffold, O.R.A.L, and Aristo Logistics and Trading. It was further established that suspect Gifty is a director of Amiacom, and Scaffold Company Limited belongs to suspect Abraham Gazi. That between 3rd March 2023 and 24th May 2024, suspect Gifty transferred 22,925,518 Ghana cedis and 69 pesos to Amiacom, 1 million Ghana cedis to Scaffold, 1,572,000 Ghana cedis to O.R.A.L, and 5,200,000 Ghana cedis to Aristo Logistics and Trading. We have this on record. We have all the bank details. We have everything, in the docket. Investigations, however, established that Eric Nyako, from 2017 until April 2024, and Idrisu Ibn Abubakar, April 2024 to December 2024, were responsible for preparing and transmitting NSP payroll data to GIBS for payment of allowances with the approval of the former NSA Director General, Mustafa Yusuf, who is now an MP, Gifty O.R.A.L acting from February 2021 to September 2021, and O.R.A.L Sibe Intwi, September 2021 to January 2025. Without their explicit authority, nothing was possible. In other words, all these transfers could not have taken place without the authorization of the Chief Executive Officer and or the Director General, depending on the nomenclature that was used to describe their roles. In the 2022-2023 service year, a total of 8,256,000 Ghana cedis was deposited into an EaseWage account numbered 1177042059, which is registered in the name of suspect Osei Asibe. Investigations showed that he personally received these funds. During a search at his residence, the aforementioned EaseWage card was found, and we intend to tender it in evidence during the course of the trial. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, our investigations further revealed that another suspect, Haruna Maulaya of Al-Faida Ventures, a vendor in the marketplace, received a total of 21,306,272 Ghana cedis and 43 pesos into his account from 2017 to 2024. Suspect Rose Hamilton of Marine Ventures received a total of 50,750,923 Ghana cedis, 15 pesos into her account from 2017 to 2024. Suspect Isaac Asamani of option buy ventures received a total of 11,458,686 Ghana cedis, 90 pesos into his account from 2027 to 2024. A total payment of 167,554,398 cedis and 50 pesos was made into the account of a savings and loan company, a savings and loan entity between 2019 and 2024. Suspect Sylvia O.R.A.L of Salesona, the names of the companies are very interesting. Salesona Ventures received a total payment of 10,746,634 Ghana cedis and 41 pesos into her account from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Jacob Yosin of Inyasampo Ventures received a total payment of 19,199,638 Ghana cedis and 57 pesos into his account from 2021 to 2024. Suspects Ofori-Atta and Stephen Kobina Jemfi of Brainwave Ventures received a total of 17,646,523 Ghana cedis and 80 pesos into their accounts from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Solomon Jomina of Ofori-Atta Ventures received a total payment of 8,236,019 cedis and 67 pesos into his account from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Charles Ayine of GH Ohetech Ventures received a total payment of 40,235,118 Ghana cedis and 14 pesos into his account from 2022 to 2024. Suspect Kweku Opare Agofa and Prince Agofa Awoku of Fralisa Ventures received a total payment of 9,011,164 and 35 Ghana cedis into their accounts from 2023 to 2024. However, none of the aforementioned vendors provided evidence to the investigative team or to myself to prove that the amounts of money they received corresponded to the items supplied or the loans supposedly made to the National Service personnel. Ladies and gentlemen of the media and my fellow countrymen and women, having concluded our investigations, we'll be filing charges against 12 suspects who work as directors and staff of the NSA. I've already listed them, but for the abundance of doubt, let me mention them again. These are Mustafa Yusuf, a former executive director; Osea Sibe, former director general; Gifty Owari Mensah, former deputy executive director; Kweku Ohinijan, former deputy executive director for operations; Abraham Bismarck Gezi, former internal auditor; Kweku Dechi Eje, an accounts officer; Idrisu Ibn Abubakar, former head of accounts; Stephen Kobina Jemfi, we have asked that he should be rearrested because we discovered some new accounts that contain some deposits, and so he was picked up this morning. So he is currently he's undergoing further interrogation. Ofori-Atta, he's the Ofori-Atta director. Then Prince Agofa Ewuku, a district director, and Jacob Yosin, management information systems administrator in the northern region. We will also file charges against the following persons who are vendors on the marketplace on the central management system of the NSA in the eastern regions. Isaac Osei Asamani, the owner of Stalwart Option Buy Ventures; Charles Ohomini, the owner of GH Ohetech Ventures; Ofori-Atta, the owner of Brainwave Ventures; Rose Hamilton, the owner of Money Ventures; Kweku Opare-Agofa, the owner of Franlisa Ventures; Solomon Jamina, the owner of Ofori-Atta Ventures; Haruna Mawulaya, the owner of Alfaida Enterprise; Sylvia Ntriwa Opare, the owner of Silsona Ventures; and then Peter Mensah, a legal practitioner and the husband of Gifty O.R.A.L. We have made the decision to enter into non-prosecution agreements with some of the persons who were involved in this criminal enterprise, especially the vendors, and these have agreed to provide compelling testimonies as witnesses for the prosecution. In this regard, we have agreed not to disclose their names or their details at this press briefing as part of the NPA, that is a non-prosecution agreement. Because this is going to inure to the efficiency of the prosecutions that